Did you know Denmark is building a record-breaking tunnel to Germany? Let's get into it. One of the largest construction projects ever undertaken is this. It's a $7.5 billion engineering fiasco, an achievement that will revolutionize travel on the entire continent. This is where it's happening. On Fehmarn, a peaceful German island. Why here? The northern axis of the Trans-European Transportation Network, which stretches approximately 5,000 kilometers from Finland's frigid tundra to Malta in the Mediterranean. It spans the seas and drills through the Alpine slopes en route and some beautiful scenery, but the road north makes a particular detour you might have noticed in the plans. You have to take this 500-kilometer detour through Denmark rather than continuing straight through Sweden. But the Fehmarn Belt, a body of water between Germany and Denmark, is to blame for everything. Let's just be 100% open about this. What's taken place first of all to make all of this possible? A 55-kilometer tunnel is currently being built under a mountain in Austria. There's a magnificent bridge connecting Denmark and Sweden, and another enormous bridge spanning 2 Danish islands. Even though it might not seem like much, this modest stretch of water has long foiled the best engineers' schemes. Before now, one of the biggest construction sites in all of Europe is right here. It'll be the world's longest immersed tunnel. The sheer magnitude and distinctive features of the super mega project are pushing engineers to their limits, forcing them to adapt. But it's going to be the fastest route between Scandinavia and Central Europe. People are excited for it. People have discussed building a bridge or a tunnel as a permanent connection between these two nations for years, but nothing happened until Sweden issued a challenge. And they're quite serious about it. The Danish and the government signed a pact to begin construction way back in 2008. There were so many things that were at risk. The plan was to build a new permanent crossing to take place of the ferries. The entire project would be funded by Denmark, who would also be in charge of the toll collection and the management of the onshore enterprises. It would have a 4-lane road with 2 rail lines serving both freight and high-speed passenger trains at the same time. The water was the only obstacle in the way. A bridge was the most obvious resolution. They came up with this solution, a 3-kilometer-long, 65-meter-high cable-stayed bridge that would still allow ships to pass underneath. You might compare it to the Mackinac Bridge, but it would be quite long. And that's when the troubles started in the engineering world. The Fehmarn Belt was something odd, as you can see. Just around 20 kilometers separate one point in the destination to the next stop, which is a greater distance than the Øresund Bridge had to span, which is the current combined railway and motorway bridge crossing the strait between Denmark and Sweden. You should know that what's keeping them at bay is the soil conditions are not even close to ideal for construction, and the water depth in the Baltic Sea is 40 meters. All of this implied that the bridge would require spans longer than 700 meters for stability. A combined road and rail bridge has never before been constructed in a manner similar to that under those conditions. 3 enormous pylons, each significantly 300 meters tall, were envisioned. This would require the construction of its foundation in water up to 25 meters deep. And the congested shipping lane and bad soil conditions are an engineer's image of hell. There's one more snag too, further causing an expansion of this mega project. Trains run well on flat tracks. Think about this. Climbing a hill gets a little harder for a train. The typical mainland train can increase its incline by 2.5%. This means that the train can travel up by 1 meter for every 40 meters of track. You should know that the place where the proposed bridge is located means the train has to start further back to get up higher. For a train to enter a bored tunnel, traverse beneath the ocean, and successfully re-enter onto the other side onto land, it would need to be at least 10 meters below, and extremely long. The construction of this tunnel is actually quite simple. Just enlarge it more. Your tunnel segment are the first built in the clean, dry factory on the ground, and then you simply dig a trench, right? The sea bottoms, rather than constructing a lengthy tunnel beneath it. Next step after this, you've almost got a tunnel. People now have questioned why you went through the trouble of constructing a tunnel. Additionally, there were height constraints related to the Copenhagen airport, which is essentially why it exists in the first place. It is huge. On paper, the project seems almost logical and practical, but in person, you can't help but feel dwarfed by the cosmic scale. See the details in the engineering and ambition? Currently, the internal cranes, the formwork, and all the other equipment are required for casting the elements, and it's absolutely massive, like being inside an airplane hangar. In fact, in one of these hangars, a pair of 747s could fit in here with ease, or you could almost fit 2 soccer fields within. When the tunnel is finished, expected in 2029, it will be used daily by thousands of cars and hundreds of trains, which will revolutionize not only Denmark and Germany, but the entire continent. But the whole cost is high. They're saying 7.5 billion. Hopefully, the money collected from car tolls will eventually cover the cost of the tunnel, which they say might make money from the endeavor over the course of the next half-century. Building green transportation corridors, upgrading infrastructure, and making billions of dollars in profit, what issue could there possibly be? And there we get to it. The building team has faced difficulties beyond merely the geographical locations. For the past 10 years, activists on the German side of the channel have pushed valiantly to block the creation of a permanent crossing. Accordingly, in countering the protesters, the organization behind it says it represents a generational investment in a cleaner, more environmentally friendly transportation network in Europe. By providing a 160-kilometer bypass, the tunnel will, once finished, significantly contribute to green trans-European traffic routes, saving on plane flights and trucks. Detractors claim that the entire endeavor is hypothetical and that there is no surefire way to determine whether or not it's worthwhile. That's accurate, nearly always the case with a large-scale infrastructure project. Over the coming decades, the new channel under the Fehmarn Belt will have an influence on millions of people all over this continent. We'll have to wait and see whether any controversies surrounding its construction continue to exist. Speaking of costs, people, are you into unique destinations and projects? Check out how even Billionaires Row is half empty. Back in New York. Channel link in the description and videos appearing on your screen right now. Make sure you subscribe to Around the Amazing World for more updates and mega projects.